It has been 5 weeks of making this video that the class reboots have been live in BDO. For those of you who don't know, on December 22nd, Black Desert Online dropped their biggest patch of class balances ever. Now, it's not so much as balancing as updating all the classes, but this was only for the first 17, and it was pretty impactful. As you've seen in previous videos, I was pretty worried about how this is going to play out because players spend most of their time playing their game on their characters. So if those characters are suddenly changed too much or are no longer fun to play, then that's bad, right? But luckily for us, from my experience so far, I've been enjoying it. All the classes that I've tried out, that's Succession and Awakening Striker, Succession and Awakening Mystic, and Awaken Meiwa. All of them feel a lot better. They feel snappier, quicker, more impactful when using skills, and some even got much stronger. Like, for example, Succession Striker, he was always a god, but before the class reboots, I was not able to grind Ash Forest, but now magically I am. So that's something. Now I know it's still a bit of a mixed review for how the class reboots played out. Some classes got the short end of the stick. They didn't get many changes. For example, Awaken Ninja didn't feel much different. There were some changes to him, but for the most part, they didn't do too much because in the previous year, they've done a lot of updates to Awaken Ninja. So if you were to compile all those updates and if they dropped them during this reboot, that would have been pretty pog, but you know, they gave it to us much sooner. So I really don't worry too much about that one. There are other classes which still feel a bit underwhelming, but they have been updating those pretty consistently. For example, Awaken Mystic got some PvE buff where she actually feels really good. Personally, I lean towards Awaken because I like the aesthetic and the playstyle of it, but Succession does feel a bit stronger still, so I feel like they're on the right track. Black Desert Online definitely feels better than what the game was a year ago, and a year ago it felt better than what it was the previous year, so they're definitely going in the right direction, and I'm pretty pleased with that. And I had to make this video because in some of my previous videos, I was pretty critical about the class reworks. I was worried about how they were going to play out. If you guys saw my reaction to their Mystic rework, I was like, oh shit, this sucks. No. But they definitely, it was as I thought. I thought that it wasn't complete. They were still going to do more changes. And what we saw in Global Labs was not the completed form of the rework. And I was right about that. So I'm really grateful that that was the case. And she does feel a lot better now, so I'm pretty happy with everything that transpired. But I had to make this video to let you guys know what my thoughts are, because there are some pretty negative feedback that I put out there on my YouTube channel. So if someone saw those right now, they'd be like, you know, even if it was like 2 months ago, they'd be like, oh no, the Mystic rework sucks. But that's not the case. So you know, we really just had to talk about it. And all of these changes are really thanks to you guys, because if it wasn't for y'all's feedback, your support, you guys watching the videos, commenting on them, pushing those ideas out there, none of this would have been possible. If you guys remember, on August 6th, I believe, some time ago, we made a video and it was a live talk during a stream. It was just a talk I took from my Twitch channel and just tossed it onto YouTube, but it was content I wanted to see in BDO. So the first thing that we talked about is having a domination mode where it's like Call of Duty, right? You have multiple points in a map, and by standing in the point, you capture it, your team gets points. And after a certain amount of time, or after you reach a certain amount of points, your team wins. So I thought that would be a lot more suitable for BDO. And, you know, we talked about it for a few minutes on stream and I put it on YouTube. And guess what? We got Valencia RBF right now. I don't know what their inspiration for that was, but hey, now we got an RBF mode that I can actually go in and get some kills in. If you guys remember the previous one, it was all casters just going ham, shooting people down with massive meteors off the rooftops and stuff. It was not a fun experience, especially for someone who's under-geared like me compared to, you know, the top echelon of players. So all of the great changes that came through in BDO, I attribute to you guys and your support. So make sure you guys keep staying vocal about changes you want to see, things that you don't like about the game, because, you know, the Pearl Abyss is out there listening. They have people who are actively going through class discords, the forums, and other channels and YouTube videos and such, getting these feedback. And, you know, if we're vocal about it, it's more likely for that to reach them. So unfortunately, there's only so much they can do. We generate a lot more feedback than they could take in, but that doesn't mean that we don't try, right? So, you know, the game's gotten a lot better, and it's definitely attributed to all of your efforts and your support. So be proud of that. As for the class reboots itself for my classes, I'm pretty happy. It really rejuvenated me in terms of wanting to go out and kill some mobs and grind for a few hours. It feels a lot more fun. Now I'm at the point where which class do I play? Because like all of them are really appealing. I really hope they don't take away the Marnie Fuel event. That is so good. It lets me play all my characters. Now I don't feel restricted to just like 2 characters or 1 character. Now all my characters are in play. I can go on to any of those and go out and grind. But the downside of this Marnie Fuel event is obviously there's more briefing out there because you're not risking your crystals. You just go on a tag character PvP. And if you get fed to the mobs and stuff, no worries. You can just go recopy your gear and stuff. So that's a downside to it. It is what it is, but hopefully they can come up with a solution for that. Maybe link the crystals between the two or have a 1-month cooldown on a free tag or something like that. So that would be, we'll see. I mean, it's not the tag that costs money, it's the copying the gear, but you know, I've been really enjoying this event and it's been great. It let us experience all the classes that we have and it's been fun. It's been fun. Now it's definitely a good thing to see Pearl Abyss continuing to do their class balance updates even after the reboots and stuff. Only one thing is though, they definitely needed to cut down Moose's damage a bit, which they did, but they had no reason to go fuck with Meiwa. I mean, look at her, she's so adorable and cute, she's not bothering nobody, she's just chilling. But no, they had to go nerf her too. I'm kidding. It's just something I don't really play Meiwa that much, I really don't care, but it's like she definitely got caught in the crossfire there. Come on. Anyway, it is such a good sign to get from a game developer who's putting in so much effort to improve their game, because listen, they make money from Black Desert Online. I mean, the cash shop is pretty intense, not gonna lie, but hey, at least all that money is going to a good place where they're taking their resources and putting it back into the game and improving it, because this isn't just a game that they're trying to milk dry for a few years and then moving on to the next thing like a lot of publishers do. You know, this is their actual game that they develop. So it's such a good thing to see, because we know it's going to last for a pretty long time. It's going to be relevant years to come, because any game which gets this amount of updates, you know, it's always going to go in the right direction, because it's not just a matter of trying to pull subscribers back or something. It's trying to improve the game and improve the experience. It's not like dropping a new expansion for World of Warcraft. They're like, oh no, we're losing subscribers, we need to bring them back. No, it's like actively improving the game that you already have and taking it forward for many years. And that's what I see from Pearl Abyss. So, you know, I played pretty much every notable MMORPG out there, and it really sucks when you have like a publisher just trying to like milk it for everything it has. We lost so many good games like that, but at the same time we've seen developers who couldn't publish their game well and eventually fail as well, like Rip Ballstar. But all in all, you know, big shout out to you guys. Like, it's you guys who make it possible that we enjoy this game. It's your support for the game, for everything else that, you know, make these kind of changes possible. Without your feedback, this reboot would have been a disaster. I do not see it going well if it wasn't for all of you guys being very vocal about your classes and stuff. Now, don't stop there, because we're not out of the woods. Like, there are some classes that really need help. There's still more improvements that can be done to classes. Like, honestly, this felt like more like balance, like major class balances rather than an entire reboot, because some classes didn't feel like they're rebooted. It still feels pretty similar to their old self. All in all, I mean, it's better than nothing, right? It's better than before, so I'll take it. Anyway, all I want to say is, you know, you guys got to keep doing what you're doing, keep being vocal. If there's a change that you want to see in a class or in the game, you know, be vocal about it. Start a movement and go start a riot if you need to in game. Tell your favorite streamers of that class that, hey, instead of just complaining on stream all day, how about you make a video? We'll promote it just by dropping likes and comments and copy and pasting it on Discords and pointing Pearl Abyss at it and stuff. Like, you know, there are a lot of things you can do to influence change, and, you know, you should make use of it. This is a game that we all enjoy playing, and I'm sure a lot of you, if you're watching this video, especially till this point, you enjoy the game. So, you know, let's keep trying to make it better and see what happens next. Now, before we wrap up the video, I wanted to show you guys the Steam charts. Now, this isn't indicative of the overall player base, because only a small fraction will actually be playing from Steam. Let's be generous and say half the players play on Steam, but it's still not the full picture, but it gives us a good idea of the trend. That's what's more important for this video. So on the 22nd of December, as soon as it dropped, the player count really shot up, and it went up by a pretty considerable amount. Like this is almost like 40-50% more players, right? So that's pretty cool. Now it did taper down a little bit, but it does fluctuate as any game would. So this is a good sign. It shows us that the player base received the rework pretty well, and everyone is pretty happy enough to play the game. So hey, a positive note there. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, hey, now that Lost Ark is right around the corner, it's coming out, what's going to happen to BDO? Well, honestly, Lost Ark isn't going to kill BDO or anything. BDO is a different type of game, so Lost Ark will appeal to some BDO players. I'm definitely going to play it, right? The player numbers might go down a little bit, but it's to be expected. Whenever a new game with shiny new things come out, the player count tends to fluctuate in other games and such. So don't worry about it. If you guys are having fun, just keep having fun. BDO has a long road ahead of it, so don't worry about any other game coming to ruin our fun here.